DHF Quarantine Episode 3. We're doing our best here to keep you guys from going stir crazy. 3-on-3 guys, 5-on-5 guys alike. Everybody's kind of missing the game, so we're doing our best to bring guys on from around the country and kind of share their stories and, just talk the game in a time when we really can't get out there and play it. So today we've got joining us from Tampa Bay area, we've got Josh Dreith. Josh, introduce yourself to the guys, to the listeners here, and tell them what you're all about.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to chatting with you guys today. My name's Josh Dreith. I'm the manager of youth and street and ball hockey for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So my job is to grow the game of ball, street, ice hockey, deck hockey, all hockey in the Tampa area. So I work full time with Vinnick Sports Group in the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Good deal. So just a little bit about your background. I know you're, from the Toronto area. How did you land in sunny South Florida?
Yeah, I actually went to school in Sudbury, Ontario, and it's minus 40 there, where Fahrenheit equals Celsius. And went to school up there. I grew up in Toronto, went to school in Sudbury, and then my last year of schooling, I took an internship down in Tampa. So I went from as cold as you can go to probably as hot as you can go. So it was I took an internship, did a 8-month internship down here. And then after the internship, I worked a bit in minor league baseball, and then ended up getting a full-time job with the Lightning after that, about 8 months later.
No, that's awesome. I mean, just me personally, if I'm negative 40, Florida is where I want to land. So congratulations there. That worked out well. But from your transition from intern to minor league baseball into, the Lightning organization, where did you start there? And then kind of how did you progress to where you are now?
Yeah, so 5 years ago, the NHL and the NHLPA came up with a fund called the Industry Growth Fund. And the job of that, the purpose of that fund is to grow the game of hockey. So all the different teams put in applications on how they thought that it was best to grow the sport. Any team in the NHL could put the application in. We put our customized application in, and a big part of that was utilizing ball and street hockey to grow the game. And I say ball and street hockey because we still go back and forth, and you guys could probably maybe answer that argument at some point in this conversation today. We never know what to call it, whether it's just introducing kids out at the schools. We usually call it street, and then we have the rinks, and you call it ball hockey, and so go back and forth on that. But we received funding from our owner, the NHL and the NHLPA, to grow the game, and we utilized the game of ball and street hockey to do that 5 years ago. And now we're sitting 5 years later with a large amount of what we do in our department, utilizing the game the game of ball and street to grow the game of hockey in this area.
No, good deal. And obviously we spend a lot of time talking growth of the game, and that's a huge initiative from, the local side and actually all across the United States. And, ball, deck, street hockey, whatever we're going to call it, is, in our opinion, one of the best avenues to do that. So I just wanted to ask, and, coming from, Canada, which is, hockey crazy, into South Florida in Tampa, what was your impression of the hockey in the area when you first got there?
Well, it would have been over 6 years now. I was impressed on how much hockey there was there. I wasn't expecting a whole lot, to be honest with you. And right when I was coming on, is right when the Lightning started to expand their fan base. So if you'd see a hat in the mall, you'd get fired up and excited. Someone's wearing a Lightning hat. But now, if you come to Tampa, there's banners everywhere. Tampa truly is a hockey city. Our numbers are growing, 500 new ice hockey players every year, tons of ball hockey players. So from where it was maybe 6 years ago to now, I'm very impressed, but I was pleasantly surprised when I first came down here with what Tampa had to offer hockey-wise, for sure.
Now, again, that's kind of one of the reasons we wanted to, transition down to Florida and get your perspective on that, because, traditionally and stereotypically, not your biggest hockey market, but you have, obviously the Lightning and then the Florida Panthers coming in the early 90s that kind of started that expansion. Same thing at Phoenix and, Dallas, and the success they're seeing with their teams. And you're seeing 500 new players a year, but you're also seeing, junior teams develop. You have the minor league systems in Pensacola in the SPHL and Jacksonville in the ECHL, all across the board. I'm going to forget some, so I'm going to stop naming them. And then, and then AAA teams, that are, further developing that elite youth level that are all based in Florida and seeing success. So it's definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on. And, the Northern boys in the Northeastern and, us here in the upper Midwest, it's something we're going to have to try to collaborate on, because honestly, if you tell me you're having a tournament in December in Florida, probably going to make a trip down.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you.
But you talked a little bit about, hey, they're direct flights and they're super cheap, so we can make it work. But you're talking like, the initial rollout with the, the NHL and the Venick ownership group, and that kind of grant program that was written was based around, ball street hockey. Kind of tell us a little bit about that, because I understand that's your, major focus with the organization.
Yeah. So originally the goal was to visit 500 schools in the Tampa area and donate 100,000 balls and sticks to kids in the area. So what we would do is we got that approved. What we do is we go to schools. We set up a little mini rink in the back there, and we take over their PE class for the day, just teaching the game of ball hockey to these kids, teaching them some basic drills, how to stick handle around cones and things like that. And then we always end with a fun game. So we'll go to probably around 6 to 8 schools a week, just introducing them to the game of ball hockey and hockey in general. These kids may have never seen hockey before, so it's such a great way to start their fandom and their interest in the game of hockey as well. The great part about ball hockey is all they need is a stick and a ball when we're out at these schools, right? So it's such a low entry to barrier, so it crosses all socioeconomical like boundaries. Girls love it, boys love it. And we've just seen such success from that original school program, so much so that a couple of years ago we applied for another 500 schools to go to even younger, so 1st through 3rd grade. The original program was for 4th through 8th grade. So we ended up doing this program now for 1st through 3rd grade, and we're done 300 schools in that program. So over 800 schools in the last 5 years, donating almost 200,000 hockey sticks and balls, just to draw up that initial interest in the game. And that school program has done a great job in doing that.
No, it's absolutely amazing. And, we've said it before, and I'll just call Mock out here, not calling him out, but one of his, taglines, one of his goals is to see every man, woman, and child in the country with a hockey stick in their hand. And, I think, I think this approach is one of the ways to do it, because once the kids get involved, that's when the dad's going to get involved, because he wants to be, a part of it with his kid. And then, the mom's going to be there anyway, so she might as well pick up a women's league and, go in that route. So definitely appreciate that. But just kind of expanding on that a little bit. So you have your initial PE class, but is there any follow-up or, league participation that happens from there? Like how do you take that initial excitement and expand on it?
Yeah, great question. The one way we do it is through a tournament. So we'll run 5 tournaments throughout the year for elementary and middle school kids. Those tournaments are completely free, and a lot of those tournaments are from schools that we visited. So say we visit Stewart Elementary School, we'll invite Stewart Elementary School out to a tournament that's in their area, and we'll pay for their jerseys and the refs and everything to run that tournament. So once you see those kids in those schools come out to the tournaments, it's unbelievable. It's game on. I will say this: we've had to call the cops once. It got so intense. So I mean, and that just shows how intense and how much they are passionate for the game. Obviously, I don't love seeing that, but at the same time, it does show that they're fired up for the game of hockey. So we run 5 tournaments throughout the year in different areas around Florida and the 5 counties surrounding Emily Arena where the Lightning play. And then we also run Hockey Day in Tampa, where it's a 50-team ball hockey tournament. So we'll have 20 elementary, 20 middle school teams, and 10 all girls teams is what we had this year. And they'll compete for the Cullimore Cup, which is the middle school division, one of our alumni. And they'll each have a division that they're competing in. And so schools have after school programs to help get ready for those tournaments and everything. And then the other way, sorry to ramble here, boys. The other way The other way too is through our leagues. So we've helped start a lot of ball hockey leagues in the charter schools. So a lot of the charter schools in the area, one of their competitive sports that they compete against is ball hockey. So just like you would do basketball or volleyball growing up, they're competing in ball hockey. It's part of one of their sports. And a lot of the schools say that they get the most fans out for and the most parents out for these ball hockey programs. So it gets really intense in these tournaments and leagues, which I love to see. The kids are so passionate. I'm talking like get down on your knees, cry after scoring a game-winning goal passionate. The leagues and the tournaments are a big way. And also advanced clinics. We'll run some advanced clinics at the outdoor rinks where we utilize our alumni. So really the advanced clinics with the alumni, the league play and the charter schools, we're trying to get it out to more outdoor rinks. And then also the tournaments are the way where we kind of take their play to the next level.
So speaking to that, how do you guys, when it comes to these tournaments or these leagues, how do you structure it? Is it divided up based on skill level, or is it based on maybe a player's age, or how do you guys sort of lump teams together and sort of classify everyone?
Yeah, I'd say Eric, like the one thing is where we're at in ball hockey, we've played a lot of ball hockey in the Tampa area, but there are the teams that compete and win a lot of the times, but you see a pretty even playing ground. There are the teams that just started, but it's very competitive, but I wouldn't say that you have like the Tampa All-Star Elite ball hockey team swiping the field. So we separate it by elementary, which is 3rd through 5th, and then middle, which is 6th through 8th grade. And then we try to separate the divisions evenly, but there's not, and there are the one team that swiped Hockey Day this year, Academy at the Farm. It was a charter school up in the Pasco area. They actually, after we introduced the game and went to their school, they built their own rink in the back of their school. So they got a 100 by 50 rink in the back of their school, and they have 150 kids in their ball hockey program that they teach after school. So this one coach who was very passionate about the game of hockey got the funding, built a rink, and now runs 150 after school kids playing ball hockey. So no wonder they swept Hockey Day this year. But you're starting to see those teams take it even more seriously.
I mean, that commitment, and I think it's happened for everybody. Once you pick up the stick for the first time and you're never putting it down. I think that's what it takes. And then finding that passion in the community for somebody who's going to do something like that, and it just expands and grows and grows. It becomes that, proverbial, I don't want to say butterfly effect because that's the wrong term, but, it just resonates throughout. But you did mention, and I kind of want to talk about this a little bit because you mentioned the rink size, which is 100 by 50, right? That's like 3-on-3 style for us. And and not your traditional, 200 or I don't even remember the dimensions of the ice rink anymore, 200 by 80 or 180 by the 60, depending on Olympic or NHL. I'm probably wrong there, so don't backtrack.
Yeah, 200 by 85.
There we go. This is why we're bringing experts on. But how do those rink size vary by location? And are you playing a different style in each one, or is it just a commonality between them, just making it work?
So the goal is to start getting we really want to get these schools to have some portable boundaries, like the portable rinks you see, like the foam pad set up. But right now at the charter school rink, we just wanted to get something started, and they actually play by the basketball lines. So like you would soccer. So if the ball goes out, the other team gets it. Yes, it slows the gameplay down dramatically. But that's how they've played in the past. Still love it. But we're looking to take this to the next level. So we've built 5 outdoor rinks this year that are 120 by 60, and then we're looking to build another 5 by Christmas of this year. So we'll have 10 outdoor rinks in the Tampa area, and then we'll run the gameplay through those outdoor rinks. So we'll have them at the rink, so we'll be able to run that 120 by 60 game in that circumstance. Yeah.
No, and real quick, I just kind of want to talk about that stat you just threw out there. 5 existing rinks, but 5 more by Christmas. I mean, that's huge. That's doubling in, was it 8 months? So yeah. How did those first 5 rinks get built? What was that time frame? And I'm just looking for a comparison to, 5 more in 8 months, like just looking at a growth pattern.
Yeah, we had, the All-Star game was held in Tampa, 2018. and the 18th season, and they built an outdoor rink as part of like the legacy project. So every time the All-Star game's held at a location, they'll usually build an outdoor rink or something to give back to the community. So we had one of those, and then we had one from the 96 or 98 All-Star game. And then there was a couple other outdoor rinks in the area, so call it 5. And then this last year, we put a proposal together to build 10 more. So 10 more that are owned by owned and built by the Lightning. And then given off to the local parks and rec departments or parks, county parks. So we built the first one probably in, September of last year, and built another one around Christmas. And then we launched 3 in 1 week in February. We had Hockey Week in Tampa where we did the big hockey day ball hockey tournament. And then we did 3 different other outdoor rink launches in the same week. It was kind of crazy, but it was a really good week. So now we have those 5, and then we'll have another 5 in the next probably 5 months or so.
So then, I mean, that's just
out are all these different locations. Are they? Is it sort of a population density thing, or are you guys really got a big footprint?
Yeah, so there's the 5 counties around the arena is kind of how we operate. Manatee, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Polk, and Pasco. So we try to put 1 in each of those. So that's 5. And then some counties that we work with a little closer, we'll put 2 or 3, or Hillsborough, which is where Tampa, where the Lightning play. So they're spread out. The Lakewood Ranch one that we first built was down in Bradenton area. So that's probably a good 75, 80 miles from the rink. And then from there, if you want to go to the furthest north one, you're probably talking 100 plus miles. So they're spread out enough. But yeah, there's a ton of them now. A ton of opportunities for kids to play. We're just looking to take it to the next level now to be able to run more programming and leagues in those rinks.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that there's a lot that goes into with all those different locations and stuff. I know the way that we've been expanding in like the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois area, we have individuals that will run each separate location. And I feel like those guys sometimes get a little bit thrown by the wayside, and they've got a lot on their plate too. So how do you guys kind of manage each individual rink? Because obviously you can't be in 5 or be at 10 places at once.
Yeah, you guys are speaking music to my ears for sure. I mean, as we sit here, obviously all 4 of us are very passionate about this, right? You guys are doing a podcast about it, and it's my full-time job. So we're all very passionate about ball hockey and hockey in general. And that's one of the biggest challenges that all of us have, and I'm sure you guys have it as well, is that we have to teach other people. We have to introduce the game to other people and teach them how to teach the game and love the game and spread the good word. Because if we do that, then the sport's going to grow even more. Us 4 can do our part, obviously, but we need other people in the communities to grow the game, teach the game, officiate the game, to be able to grow the game. So having those people that we trust at each rink is really important, and it's a struggle. I'll be quite honest with you. It's a struggle. Because once those rinks and the people running those rinks really embrace the sport, it's game on. They're running leagues, they're holding tournaments, they're holding leagues. And what did we do? We built it and we helped them start, right? So that's a constant battle that we have. Some rinks have already, got their summer camp plans, their leagues planned, tournaments, and then others, we have to be a little more hands-on and help them run the league a little more, help them run clinics a little more. So each rink is a little different to kind of answer your question, but we don't want any rink to fall below the others. We want to try to keep them active. And it's tough because it's every day of the week for 10 different rinks. So we have another full-time person under me that works on that and just has weekly and biweekly meetings with those rink managers. We're looking to have some of our part-timers take ownership of each individual rink, just trying to come up with ideas so that they don't just grow grass, right? Or not be used.
Definitely an undertaking daunting there. And I think some of that, I think anybody who starts up something like this is going to see a learning curve, a lot of lessons learned. So I'm just elated the fact that, the Tampa Bay Lightning are so invested that, that they're willing to put in that level of effort and then bring in people like yourself and, the one working under you whose sole job it is to grow that game. I guess one of the things I was just wondering, and kind of selfishly, is being the Tampa Bay Lightning, you talked about alumni coming into events, and we've seen other markets where the NHL has something similar where, you have Brian Russ going out from Pittsburgh into doing kids camps with Pittsburgh deck hockey. Are there any, active roster, big name, I don't know, Kucherov, Stamkos, Lassie, Paquette. Like, I can name 8 million superstars on that team getting out there for events and then kind of attracting and retaining.
Yeah, if we want to give a little shout out to your French Canadian followers, Paquette did come out to our last rink opening and kind of helped out with the clinic and things like that, along with Mitchell Stevens. Our players have a busy schedule. We kind of rely more on our alumni, and our players can kind of drop in as they can and as their schedule permits. But we do lean on our alumni pretty heavy. Like Vincent Lecavalier, there's another French Canadian name for you. He's a big time player. He helps. He'll drop in once in a while. We have 2 full-time staff members actually that are alumni in our community hockey department that help run the ball and ice hockey actual like feet on the ground clinics. So their job is just to run the programming. So one's Matthew Garon, another French Canadian, and then the other is Jason Cullimore. So those 2 alumni are solely in charge of helping help run these programs when it comes to the drills and the actual on ice and on court and on rink training. But then we also have a bunch of other alumni too. So we utilize our alumni a lot more than our current players in Tampa.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, right? You're a professional player. You've got a lot on your plate, training, traveling, taking time off in the gym. So totally understandable there. Just kind of want to throw this out there. And did you know you had a player? I think he's with Florida now in the AHL. Kind of was with hiatus. Yeah, so that's what I was getting at. Like, Team Canada, top player in the world in some rankings in international competition.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed on the little bit of a ball dropped on that one, but that was a unique situation because he was up and down a lot. So like he wasn't he was with the team, but he had an interesting year with us. So if he would have stayed another year, I had him on my list to reach out to you right away to help programming. He was only with us a year, so when it comes to having the opportunity, it was there for the year. So I feel like I dropped the ball a little bit on that. But yeah, I'd love to. If you guys know of anyone that loves to spread the word of the game, or any semi-pros or whatever it is, please let us know in Tampa. We'd love to have them help out.
Well, I was going to ask you too is how many guys that you know of, be it current active roster or alumni, whatever, how many of these guys are like that, where they have a really good ball hockey background? I know we see a lot of these guys from like the Montreal area and stuff like that have really been immersed in that the ball hockey culture. So what's it kind of look like hanging around with pro players and stuff? I mean, is there kind of a divide? Maybe some of the American players, don't have as much experience. The Canadians maybe more.
Oh, it's I would say a lot of it's the French Canadians, I feel like, that have a lot more awareness of that. I mean, the ball hockey, when it comes to like the guys out west, like the big defensemen that are brutes growing up playing in the NHL or the WHL, growing up, like not a lot of ball hockey. But it's interesting. I feel like it's kind of all over the place. So Glenn Metropolitan recently moved to the Tampa area. He played for a bunch of different NHL teams, and he played roller and a little ball, and his hands are unbelievable. So obviously he's out there supporting it. But I would honestly say that everyone that is in our alumni base was more on the ice hockey side and is just supporting the ball hockey side now. So yeah, not a lot of ball hockey players in our alumni, but they're pretty good still.
When we had talked to Corey, I was just going to mention, they had Brian Russ come out and do a very similar thing with their youth program in the Pittsburgh Gods. And Corey had kind of, I don't know, maybe thrown a little jab at him that on his first couple of shots, he was missing the net. It took him a minute to adjust to the ball. So, yeah. I mean, do you see any of these guys that are used to playing, traditional ice hockey, or even kids that play traditional ice hockey, and it takes them a minute to get used to the different ball? Yeah,
you're so right, Eric. The one thing is that in our tournaments, we will say we're maybe short a team or two. Let's throw an ice hockey team in there. All right. So we'll do that once in a while. And the ice hockey team never wins. The ball hockey team always wins. These ball hockey players, they might have had one ice hockey player on their team, but it's the ball hockey teams always beat the ice hockey teams in ball hockey, which I'll be straight up, I was surprised with. I grew up playing ball hockey on the street with my friends every day after school. I never played organized. I played a little bit organized ball hockey, but nothing intense. So, but yeah, these ice hockey teams are losing to the ball hockey teams. And the alumni, after coming out to a few school clinics, their hands start to get under them and they start to show a little skill. But yeah, they're whizzing them over the net. You got to watch out if you're a kid walking behind the net at a school visit.
There's not a lot of weight behind the ball versus the puck, so it takes a second to get used to. And we see something very similar here. We host the 3-on-3 national tournament here in Iowa. You know, we have NCAA D1, Junior A, you know, WHL type guys that come in, form teams with background, and you know, even pro ice players still that'll come in and on these teams, and they're nowhere near as successful as the organized ball hockey. I mean, it's almost a night and day. It takes them a little bit to get used to, but you never see them really make a push for that championship game. So it's definitely, and we were talking about it before, it's just understanding the nuances of the game.
They're running in circles, right, Shaq?
Yeah.
They're running in circles out there. Like they're chasing their tail. When they don't realize that the ball moves pretty quick, and when you spread out and pass it around, it changes the game, right? Like it's a different game. It's crazy. Like the ice hockey players, like even when I first started playing ball hockey, like I was running way too much. Like I obviously you have to be very, very fit to play ball hockey, deck hockey, and you do run a lot. But when you hold your position and you pass the ball and you know where to go, like it's a lot different. Holy, it's a lot different.
And I think you just really hit the strategy on the head there. It's a possession game.
Yeah.
And it's controlling your breakouts and, you know, understanding your teammates and your players. But I mean, you could make that same argument for ice too, but you know, that transition it isn't the same. And being on your feet versus the skate, you're going, you know, 5 miles an hour versus 25. So you've got to be able to understand, you know, what your body can do with that ball. And it's great to see though. And just having those ice players reaching out and venturing into that outside of, you know, Quebec, which is huge, is kind of a huge next step. But I kind of wanted to circle back onto what we were talking about earlier, and, you know, that youth movement. And you're starting young, right? You're elementary school and kind of building it up through middle school. Do you have, or are you thinking about a plan to kind of keep that behind them in high school? And then you talked about the prep teams who do that, but is that something you're looking to expand even further in the Tampa area?
Yeah, there's opportunity now, right? We've introduced them to the game. We've got them hooked on the game. And now how do we take it to the next level? I would love to start seeing some like development of like some more advanced ball hockey players, like if you grabbed like 15 of these kids that are playing ball hockey in these ball hockey leagues and put them on a team, they'd be pretty damn good. And then when it comes to like high school, we've been brainstorming on how we can create a high school ball hockey league. So we run the ice hockey high school league. So the Lightning High School Hockey League, it's an ice league. So we run that. There's 18 teams in that. My thought is, how can we get 18 teams, the same teams, in a ball hockey league, right? So right now there's a gap. We've identified it, and again, open to any ideas. But I think that a high school ball hockey league would be pretty awesome. And then trying to pull out some of the more elite players on the other elementary or middle school, let's say, and maybe bringing them to a tournament or something. I don't know. I definitely think there's some room to grow it to kind of show that elite level. Like you always kind of want to see that elite level so that the kids can grow to that. Because the worst thing that can happen with ball hockey, and I'm very passionate about this. The worst thing that can happen is that people just say, "Oh, this is just ball hockey. We're just hitting a ball around," and they get bored after 8 weeks of it. Right? It's a competitive sport that takes a lot of practice and strategy. And if you just think of it as something where you're just hitting an orange ball around, that is not the way to look at it. So but you have to give them those pathways to grow as well. So that's something that we always
speaking the language, man.
Yeah, you got it.
I think the pitch to a lot of these kids that even play at maybe a junior high or a high school at a high level, where they're playing club hockey, they're traveling, and they're seeing the competitive environment a lot. I think the main pitch to them is that if you take and you dedicate yourselves to learning the sport of ball hockey or even deck hockey, there are, you could potentially represent your country overseas, and wear the stars and stripes the same way that, we view it the same way that we view an Olympic team. And that's the ultimate level of competition, is when you're going head to head with Canada or Slovakia on the national stage. I mean, I don't know what there is that's going to be north of that in your hockey career, but I think that's a pretty strong pitch to a kid who's at that pinnacle of the sport.
Yeah, we do need in Tampa. We got to figure out how to get there. I mean, there's no we don't have a lot of indoor courts, right? A lot of it's outdoors. So at some point we'll need more of that to run that year round, because it gets pretty hot in Tampa. But the one thing that excites me about ball hockey being at maybe the more competitive Olympic level is that I guarantee you that what that team looks like is going to look a heck of a lot different than what the team looks like in ice hockey. You're going to see diversity. You're going to see people from all different backgrounds, right? And in order to grow the sport of hockey in general, we have to have that. We have to diversify. We have to diversify what it looks like to be a hockey player and what it is to be a hockey player, right? So I think ball hockey gives that opportunity there. It'd be pretty cool to see what that competitive team looked like, and what did it consist of: Hispanic, Black, Latino, all over the place, right? So.
Well, exactly, and I think that's one of the benefits of the sport that I hate saying this, but you can kind of leverage, right? Hockey's not cheap. We've got tens of thousands of dollars of equipment sitting downstairs right now, and it's an investment, and not everybody's fortunate enough to be able to do that. But when you're looking at ball hockey, you're wearing a pair of shoes, shorts you already own, a stick, gloves, and a helmet. That's it. You're not making that $1,200 skate investment and whatever else on top of that in the ice time. So that's really the essence of what ball hockey can really bring in a growth mode, is that it's a sport for everybody. It's almost like, I call it new soccer, right? Soccer had an explosion because it's accessible.
Yeah.
And kind of hitting again, what you're talking about is developing that high school league. I mean, I think you're in a great spot if the Lightning already, kind of have influence over the ice. But one of the things that, and this is to Mock's point too, is you give those kids something to look forward to. Give them that, that role model that, hey, if I work through middle school, I can go play on this team and be an elite player within Tampa. And then that can spur to, and I'm an elite player in Tampa. I'm actually really good. Do I have a shot of wearing those stars and stripes? And then going overseas to play for the red, white, and blue. And, but you've got to do it incrementally, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm open, guys, offline to chat more about that too, about how do we create those steps in Tampa? A lot of what I've done is at the grassroots level and creating that interest. And we have created quite the interest, and open to discussing with USA Ball Hockey, Corey, their team. How do we take it to the next level, and what types of clinics or programs can we put in place in Tampa this year, next year, or both, to start pushing it that way,
Well, I think the hardest part is getting off the ground and getting, not only that first rink, but that second rink, and showing okay, this is starting to catch on. We're starting to get people buying in. And then once the snowball starts rolling, I mean, probably not the best term to use, but it's like a virus, man. I get it. I give it to my friend. He gives it to his family. Before you know it, the whole high school's got a rink in their backyard.
Yeah. And you got to start somewhere. So even if it's for our high school team, whether it's 6 teams the first year, 4 teams, whatever it is, at least make that first step.
Yep, absolutely. That's where we started. 1 rink, just a couple teams. Now we're looking at a 3rd rink and 10 leagues. So the foundation.
And we're the headquarters for Team USA or 3-on-3s. I mean, I think we'd be here 5 years ago.
Who would have thought? Yeah, who would have thought in Iowa that occurs? But I mean, and again, it's ball hockey. It's an accessible sport, and you can make it anywhere, because the passion for the game is across the country. It's coast to coast. It's just getting people the opportunity to do it, and then putting the systems and processes in place to grow it. And I mean, with everything you've been telling us, I mean, in that short period of time, that's absolutely fantastic. And clearly let's keep the conversation going offline about anything, ideas we have or anybody we can connect with that, can help you get there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's chat about this 3-on-3 game because I think with the rinks that are building, them being 120 by 60, maybe we can get a pretty awesome little Christmas tournament down here. You guys bring your teams and maybe we set something up.
So that's a perfect transition then. So every year right around February or so, I go down and I visit my parents. We actually fly into Tampa. They're just right there on the Gulf. So when I get bored and I get in the good weather for the first time in a while, and I get that itch to go and play some ball hockey, what can somebody that's 30 years old do? Do you guys have anything for adults or like a beer league thing, or how does it work once you maybe get slightly past your prime?
Yeah, come on, you're still in your prime. Let's be real. No, so we have one league that we helped start. So we have our indoor facility, like I was saying. There's the small rinks where it's a very tight game, and we have 10 adult teams in that 60 by 30 rinks. So very, very different. But then when it comes to the outdoor rinks, the 120 by 60s that we're building, the first league started up, adult league. It's in Oldsmar, and it is a beautiful rink. So they put even more into it. The city, it's sport court, nice benches, a beautiful cover, like. It's really, really nice. So in Oldsmar, they have men's ball hockey leagues going on. And then the other rinks, we opened them in February. So right before all this, craziness, you can call it. So once things get back to normal, we'll start to run some 3-on-3 ball hockey leagues for adults in those leagues as well. So right now, Oldsmar is the main league in Tampa. But you shoot me a text and we'll set you up when you get down here.
Wonderful.
Oh, let's do it. Let's plan for something for Christmas. We'll call it Team Iowa versus Team Florida.
Okay.
We'll just we'll show up with sandals that we pulled out of like whatever closet because they've been away for 6 months, but we'll definitely do it.
Midwest All-Stars.
You're not allowed to bring the French Canadians. You're not allowed to. You got to leave them off the roster for this one.
We call them player coaches.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think it'll be good, and definitely everything you're doing down there sounds fantastic, and we're happy that you're able to join us today and tell that story. And clearly anything we can do and people we can connect with after this, let's keep the conversation going, and we're happy to support as much as we can.
That's awesome, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's awesome to talk with people it's great to talk to people that are very passionate about the sport, and you guys are doing a great job in Iowa. And great job on the podcast too. So keep this up, and I look forward to talking with you guys in the future.
We couldn't do it without people, buying in. But hey, before we let you go, how do people get a hold of you if they're maybe seeing this and hearing about ball hockey for the first time and they're, in that South Florida area? How do they get a hold of you? How do they get signed up? What's the steps?
Yeah, for sure. So lightningmadehockey.com. So Lightning Made. So just Lightning and then Made, MADE hockey.com. That's our website. You can go on there. It has all of our programming that's going on in leagues right now. It's pretty bare, obviously, but a lot of our programming and leagues are on that website. So I would just go to lightningmadehockey.com to keep up to date with what we got going on.
Perfect. Well, they'll certainly check it out. I think you guys are probably in store for nothing but growth. And, I think some of the stuff we talked about is maybe a little bit big picture, but it comes on quicker than you think. I mean, once it starts catching on, people really seem to like ball hockey and stuff. So I'm excited to see, every corner of the United States buying in.
Yeah, we'll get there for sure. We'll get there. The new soccer.
Yeah, I like it. We'll get that. We'll get that on everybody's tongue. The new soccer. Well, anyway, Josh, thanks for joining us. Tampa Bay seems like they're doing a lot for us, and I'm sure we'll come and see you again if we have you on the show. But stay safe during this whole quarantine thing, and you'll be out there lacing up the sneakers before you know it.
All right, sounds good, boys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Yeah.